One of the most insufferable people on the internet is making the rounds yet again. And that would be Hasan, because he decided to come out and say that streaming is just such a hard job. It is the hardest job in the world. So much harder than a real job in a 9 to 5. They don't even compare. And that all started with a clip that started going around on Twitter where he basically says that.
Yes, a real job can be gruesome. A real job can make you very tired, but a real job doesn't suck the soul out of you. You know what I mean? In the same way that 9 hours of streaming absolutely will. So
But there we have it, Hasan saying, you know, man, your 9 to 5, your real job, it does not compare to being a streamer. Could you imagine streaming for 9 hours a day? Just how terrible that is. And I always find it funny. We'll dig more into this, but just looking at the surface here. So if he is saying that streaming, it sucks the soul out of you. It's so insane. It's so bad. And oh my God, it's just so terrible. It's so much harder than a real job. Then quit. Like Hasan, you have millions of dollars, multiple millions of dollars. You make millions of dollars every year doing this streaming thing that's so hard. And if you don't like it, if you're saying that it's so terrible, it's sucking the soul out of you, it makes your life meaningless, then quit. It's very simple. You have the money to quit. So if it's something that's so bad, that's so detrimental, that's so much worse than a real job, quit. Right? You have that luxury. Most people do not have the ability to do that in a real job. If they hate their job and it is destroying them and it makes them unhappy, they don't have the luxury to decide to just quit one day and go do something else because they need that money, right? You do. So if you actually mean what you're saying here, then quit streaming. It's very simple. If it's so terrible and it's just so terrible for you and it drains everything and it sucks your soul, then quit, right? You have the means to. But you won't, because you don't really even mean what you're saying, right? And if you give anyone the choice between being a content creator, we'll include YouTuber, streamer in that whole thing, or working a real job, a 9 to 5, everybody is going to pick the content creator path. No one's going to say, man, if I could make millions of dollars a year being a streamer or make $15 an hour in a real job, God, I'll take the real job. Like, no one's going to say that, right? And that's something that comes with having what is considered a dream job. When you have a dream job, people aren't going to feel bad for you. No one's going to. No one looks at LeBron and says, oh, God, he has to work so hard and he does so much work for his basketball skills because he's getting paid astronomical amounts of money, right? So when you have a dream job and you want to come and say, my job's so hard, nobody feels bad for you because there is unlimited people who would switch places with you in an instant. And that goes for streaming. When you are making millions of dollars a year streaming, there are no shortage of people who would trade places with you instantly. So if you came out and say that, God, this job is so hard, nobody's going to feel bad for you. That's just what comes with having a dream job. If you don't like that, you can always quit. But Hasan also responded to this in a tweet after the clip started going viral here, saying Twitter is just straight up 4chan now. So many people's brains are cooked. One day we will study its impact on a generation of school who grew up here on here/Reddit, but it'll be too late. Which just is absolutely insane. Like, what are you talking about? What is it we talking about? What are we trying to say here? Hasan's lost his mind. People said, oh God, this you think social media and streaming is harder than a real job. That's kind of ridiculous to say. And then he goes to the absolute extreme saying, oh, you don't even know the half of it. Oh, we're going to do this stuff and it's going to be so terrible. Like, what are we talking about? Right? Like, people said being a streamer is not difficult, is not more difficult than a real job. If given the choice between the two, people are going to choose to be a streamer every single time. Now, that does not mean content creation or being a streamer or YouTuber is easy. It's definitely not. Content creation is not an easy thing. I think a lot of people look at it and think that it's easy. It's just what comes with, the platform, people just kind of assume it's an easy thing to do. It is definitely not, but it is nowhere near the same level of difficulty as a real job and what a real job can put you through, right? So if you got to pick between the two, no one's picking the real job. That should tell you something. There are people like this who responded to it, which I think is a fair response, saying, imagine being so out of touch with reality that you think talking at your computer is harder than a real job, which all of it makes sense, right? Now, the main point Hasan is trying to get through here, I guess, is saying that his social battery is so drained after a 9-hour stream because he just has to please everyone. But I don't think Hasan really does that. I don't watch Hasan streams. I lose enough brain cells watching clips of him on Twitter and being forced to see that. So I don't know how people sit through a Hasan stream. But, it doesn't seem like he's all that keen into being a people pleaser all the time. Feels like he's got no problem being the dick in the room and just kind of saying whatever he wants, right? And I guess he also posted, I guess this is a clip to add more context or stuff. He says here that he recognizes how fortunate he is and all this, had a sales job before, oh my God, and then the social battery is so bad. But ultimately, like I said, if you're saying that your social battery is so bad and that's the only thing you have to complain about, that's a really good thing to only have to complain about. You know all the complaints people have from real jobs that suck, that they have to go do because they do not have the choice to be able to quit it, right? So to be able to say that, God, the hardest thing about my job is after I'm done working, my social battery, it's just so empty. If that's the only thing you can complain about, you got a good job. You have a really good job. So I don't know how he can't see that. And I guess he says, fortunate every day. I don't know. It doesn't really seem like that. It seems like he's constantly complaining. But again, I don't watch Hasan. So maybe, in when he's streaming, he's always talking about how fortunate he is. I don't know. He's supposed to be a champagne socialist, right? So how much does he actually mean when he says stuff? But we'll take a look. We'll watch a little bit of this clip because it adds a little bit of context, but not really.
No. Social battery wise, unless you're in fucking retail, it's very different. You're out of touch. I'm gonna die, dude. There's motherfuckers who are accountants in here and they're misunderstanding what I'm saying. A real job does not expend your social battery in the same fucking way as someone who did a sales job, a real job, okay? I'm telling you, as someone who did both, like 9 hours of constant performance and people pleasing taps you out from social scenarios. After 9 hours of that, I could probably do fucking physical labor. It would not bother me.
That's basically what this whole clip is, just kind of reiterating the same points. But I do think it's funny that he says, 9 hours of people pleasing. It's so exhausting. What are you doing right now? You're not people pleasing. You're arguing with people. You're pushing your idea through there. You're not people pleasing anything. So if the draining part is people pleasing, but clearly you're not people pleasing here. You're arguing and you're trying to push your point across. That kind of contradicts itself already. And on top of that, again, like if it's the only thing you can complain about is that your social battery is drained, like that's a luxury. That's an amazing thing to be able to complain about and have the only complaint saying 9 hours of performance on Twitch is just so much harder than 9 hours of performance as a regular employee somewhere. It's just not even comparable, right? Being a Twitch streamer, sure, it is not the easiest thing in the world, but it is definitely nowhere near the hardest job. Not even close. The only time you could really talk about this and say that some of his points can stick is to smaller streamers, where you can kind of see that if they're making less money than someone who is working a normal job, then you could probably say maybe some of these points are there. But when you're talking about the top 0.0001% of streamers who are taking in millions of dollars a year, no one's going to feel bad for you. You do not have a hard job. And if it's so hard and so detrimental to you, you have the money and the means to no longer do it. And the fact that you don't do that kind of tells you all you have to know. That's going to do it for this video. As always, notice the smash like button and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next